Jake Morrison was having a terrible day even before he noticed the kid on the balcony. His landlord had just informed him the rent was increasing by 15%. His boss at the freight depot had cut his hours, and his lunch, a sandwich he'd been looking forward to all morning, had been stolen from the break room refrigerator. He was walking through the residential sector of Station Omega 7, heading home to his cramped apartment, when he heard it, a small, terrified voice crying for help. Jake stopped and looked around. The residential towers rose up on either side of the walkway, their balconies jutting out at regular intervals. Most were enclosed with safety barriers, but one on the 15th floor was not. And clinging to the railing, dangling over a 100-foot drop, was a small figure with orange fur and a very fluffy tail. A Felinar child, maybe 6 or 7 years old by human standards. His small hands gripped the railing desperately, his legs kicking in empty air. "Help!" the kid screamed. "Someone help me!" Jake looked around wildly. The walkway was empty. It was mid-afternoon. Most people were at work. The emergency call stations were at least a block away, and even if he ran, by the time security arrived, the kid's grip slipped slightly. He screamed. Jake didn't think. He ran toward the building, found the entrance, and started climbing the emergency stairs 3 at a time. 15th floor. He had to reach the 15th floor. His lungs burned by the 10th floor. His legs screamed by the 12th. He kept climbing. When he burst onto the 15th floor corridor, he could hear the kid still crying. He found the apartment door wide open, standard residential unit, and ran inside. The balcony door was also open. Through it, he could see the kid still hanging on, but barely. His small arms were shaking with exhaustion. Jake ran onto the balcony and leaned over the railing, grabbing the kid's wrists. "I've got you. Hold on." "I'm slipping." The kid's golden eyes were wide with terror. "You're not slipping. I've got you." Jake pulled, his own arms straining with the effort. The kid was small, maybe 40 pounds, but pulling dead weight over a railing while leaning out yourself was harder than it looked. Jake got one of the kid's arms over the railing, then the other, then bodily hauled him over and onto the balcony. They both collapsed onto the floor, breathing hard. "You okay?" Jake gasped. The kid was crying now, his small body shaking. "I thought I was going to fall. I thought, hey, you're safe now. What happened? Where are your parents?" "Mama went to the market. She told me to stay inside, but I wanted to see the ship's landing, and I climbed on the chair to look over the rail, and it tipped, and The words came out in a rush, panicked and guilty. Okay, it's okay, you're safe." Jake looked around the apartment, unsure what to do. Should he wait for the mother? Should he call security? "What's your name?" "T. Tomas." "I'm Jake." "Nice to meet you, Tomas, even if the circumstances are a bit dramatic." Despite the tears, Tomas gave a small giggle. His tail, which had been puffed out in fear, started to relax slightly. That's when Jake heard footsteps in the corridor, rapid, heavy, multiple people. The door burst open and a Felinar female rushed in, her orange fur darker than Tomas's, her expression frantic. "Tomas." She saw him on the balcony with Jake and froze. "What? Who are you?" "Mama." Tomas ran to her and she scooped him up, her eyes never leaving Jake. "I was walking by when I heard him calling for help," Jake explained quickly. "He was hanging from the balcony railing. I came up to get him. He's okay, just scared." The woman's expression shifted from fear to horror as she realized what had almost happened. "Tomas, you promised to stay inside." "I'm sorry, Mama. I just wanted to see the ships." Behind the mother, more Felinar appeared in the doorway, males, large, wearing clothing that marked them as security or enforcers of some kind. They took in the scene, human male on the balcony with a Felinar child, the child crying, the mother's distress. One of them, a massive male with battle scars on his muzzle, stepped forward. "What's going on here?" "He saved Tomas," the mother said quickly. My son climbed on the balcony and fell. This human pulled him up. The scarred Felinar looked at Jake with an expression that was difficult to read. You're human. Why would you risk yourself for a Felinar child? It was such an odd question that Jake didn't know how to respond. Because he was in danger. Because he's a kid. I don't. What else would I do? Most wouldn't get involved, the scarred Felinar said. Cross-species complications, liability concerns, or simply not caring about others' children. Well, I'm not most people, Jake said, his own exhaustion making him irritable. Look, the kid's safe. I'm going to head home now. Wait. The mother shifted Tomas in her arms. Please, I need to thank you properly. You saved my son's life. I need to. She looked at the scarred Felinar. Uncle Ren, we need to acknowledge this debt. Uncle Ren's expression became even more inscrutable. Indeed, human, what is your name? Jake Morrison. Jake Morrison, you have earned a life debt from Clan Shadowpaw. This is not a small matter. I don't need a debt. I just need to go home and process my terrible day. Jake moved toward the door, but two of the other Felinar stepped into his path. You don't understand, Uncle Ren said. Among our people, saving a clan member's life, especially a child, creates obligation. You cannot simply walk away. Watch me, Jake said, then immediately regretted the tone. These guys were huge, and he'd just been rude to what appeared to be organized clan members. I mean, I appreciate the offer, but really, I just did what anyone would do. You did what almost no one would do, the mother said. Please at least allow me to make a formal declaration of gratitude. I am Carolyn of Clan Shadowpaw. My son Tomas lives because of your courage. That matters. Jake looked at her earnest expression, at the kids still clinging to her, at the serious faces of the clan members. Okay, formal gratitude, sure, but then I really need to go home. Of course. Carolyn bowed deeply, a formal Felinar gesture Jake recognized from cultural briefings. The life debt is recorded. Clan Shadowpaw owes you honor-bound protection and favor. Should you ever need aid, call upon us. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Jake finally managed to get past the enforcers and into the corridor. As he walked away, he heard urgent conversations in Felinar behind him, but he was too tired to care. He'd saved a kid. The kid was safe. His terrible day was over. He had no idea his terrible day was actually just beginning. The first sign something was wrong came the next morning when Jake left his apartment and found two large Felinar males standing in the corridor. Jake Morrison, one of them asked. Yeah, who's asking? We're from Clan Shadowpaw. We've been assigned as your escort. My what? Your protection detail. After yesterday's events, the clan has determined you require guarding. I don't need guards. I need to get to work. Jake tried to walk past them. They moved to block his path. We have our orders, Mr. Morrison. Where you go, we go. This was insane. Look, I appreciate the gesture, but I'm fine. I don't need. You saved the nephew of Ringkala the Shadowclaw, the second guard interrupted. Do you understand what that means? That I pulled a kid off a balcony, that you saved the heir apparent to one of the most powerful Felinar clans on this station. Ringkala has enemies. Those enemies now know you exist. You absolutely need protection. Jake's stomach sank. Heir apparent, the kid's 7, and third in line to lead Clan Shadowpaw. His mother Carolyn is Ringkala's younger sister. His father, the guard hesitated. His father was killed 2 years ago in a clan dispute. The boy is precious to the clan and you saved his life. That makes you both an honored ally and a potential target. A target for what? For rival clans who might use you as leverage against Shadowpaw. Or for those who see the life debt as a weakness to exploit. This couldn't be happening. Jake had just wanted to help a kid. I don't want to be part of clan politics. I just want to go to work and live my normal life. Too late for that, the first guard said, not unkindly. You're part of this now whether you like it or not. We're here to keep you alive while the clan determines how to address the situation. Jake's boss was not thrilled when he showed up to the freight depot with two large Felinar bodyguards. Morrison, what the hell is this? Long story, sir. They'll stay out of the way. They're the size of cargo containers. How are they staying out of the way? As it turned out, they weren't. The guards followed Jake everywhere, watching his every move, scanning everyone who came near him, and generally making his coworkers extremely uncomfortable. By lunch, his boss pulled him aside. Look, Morrison, I don't know what you got yourself into, but this is disrupting operations. You're going to need to sort this out. I'm trying, sir. Take the rest of the day. Hell, take the rest of the week. Get this handled, then come back when you don't have an armed escort. Great. Jake was already short on hours, and now he was being sent home unpaid because he'd saved a kid's life. The guards escorted him back to his apartment, where he found Uncle Ren, Rincala the Shadowclaw, apparently waiting in his living room. How did you get in here? Jake demanded. Your building's security was cooperative once I explained the situation. Rincala gestured to Jake's worn couch. Please sit. We need to discuss your circumstances. The circumstances where I'm suddenly unemployed because you assign me bodyguards I don't want. The circumstances where you're alive because you have bodyguards you need, Rincala corrected. Mr. Morrison, Jake, you don't understand the complexity of Felinar clan politics. Shadowpaw has rival clans. Some of those rivals would very much like to strike at us, and you've given them an opportunity. By saving a kid, by earning a life debt that binds Shadowpaw to you. If someone harms you, Shadowpaw must respond. If someone uses you as leverage, Shadowpaw must negotiate. You've become a pressure point. Jake sat down heavily. I just wanted to help. I know, and that's admirable. It's also complicated. Rincala leaned forward. I'm offering you a solution. Come under Shadowpaw protection formally. Live in our clan compound, accept our security, and in exchange we'll provide for you housing, employment, safety. You want me to join your clan, not as a full member, you're human, that would be impossible, but as a protected associate. Someone under our direct guardianship who we can defend properly. And if I refuse, Rincala's expression was grim, then you remain a target, but one we can't protect as effectively. Jake, 3 rival clans have already made inquiries about you. They know you exist, they know Shadowpaw owes you a debt, and they're calculating how to use that information. If you're outside our protection, you're vulnerable. This is insane. I live a normal life. I work at a freight depot. I'm nobody. You were nobody, then you saved Tomas. Now you're the human who holds a life debt from Clan Shadowpaw, and that makes you somebody whether you like it or not. Jake wanted to argue, to insist this was all ridiculous, but he could see the sincerity in Rincala's eyes. The man genuinely believed Jake was in danger. How long? Jake asked. How long would I need to stay under your protection? Until the situation stabilizes, until rival clans accept that you're off limits, possibly. Indefinitely. Indefinitely. Life debts don't expire, Jake. You'll always be connected to Shadowpaw now, but the immediate danger should fade once it's clear you're protected and inaccessible as a pressure point. Jake thought about his apartment, barely affordable, poorly maintained, lonely. His job low-paying, with a boss who just sent him home for circumstances beyond his control. His life isolated, going through motions, not really living so much as existing. If I agree to this protection arrangement, what would my life look like? Rincala's expression lightened slightly. You'd live in the compound, private quarters, much nicer than here. You'd have work if you wanted it. Shadowpaw operates several businesses that could use someone with logistics experience. You'd be safe, provided for, and Tomas has already asked if the brave human could visit and play with him. The kid wants to see me. He hasn't stopped talking about you. You're his hero." Rincala smiled slightly. "Carolyn says he's been drawing pictures of you rescuing him. She's considering putting them up in the family gallery." Despite everything, Jake smiled. "He's a good kid." "He is, and he's alive because of you. Please, Jake, let us protect you properly. Let us honor the debt we owe." The Shadowpaw compound was impressive, a secured section of the station's residential district with multiple family units, communal spaces, and serious security. Jake's quarters were indeed much nicer than his apartment, larger, well-maintained, with actual furniture that wasn't salvaged. The first week was surreal. He was surrounded by Felinar, clan members who ranged from friendly to cautiously welcoming. They knew he'd saved Tomas, and that earned him respect, but he was still human in a very Felinar space. Tomas visited constantly, bringing drawings, asking questions about Earth, and generally treating Jake like the coolest person he'd ever met. "Can you teach me human words?" Tomas asked one afternoon. "Sure, what do you want to learn?" "How to say thank you for saving me." Jake showed him the words, and Tomas practiced them carefully. Then very seriously, the 7-year-old said, "Thank you, Jake, for being brave, for helping me when you didn't have to." Jake felt his throat tighten. "You're welcome, Tomas." Carolyn appeared in the doorway. "Tomas, time for lessons. Stop monopolizing Jake's time." "But Mama, lessons, now." After Tomas reluctantly left, Carolyn sat down across from Jake. "He adores you. He's a good kid. He almost died." Her voice cracked slightly. "If you hadn't been there, if you hadn't acted, I would have lost him, like I lost his father." "Carolyn, I know Ren told you about the life debt, about the politics, about why you're here, but I want you to know, beyond all that, I'm personally grateful. You gave me back my son. Nothing we offer you can repay that, but we'll try anyway." Jake realized something then. He'd been thinking about this situation in terms of what he'd lost, his independence, his normal life. But he'd gained something too, a community that valued him, a kid who looked up to him, a purpose beyond just surviving day to day. "Actually," Jake said slowly, "I think maybe I'm the one who gained something here." Carolyn smiled. "Good, because you're family now, Jake Morrison, whether you intended it or not." 6 months later, Jake stood in the compound's central courtyard watching Tomas play with other clan children. The kid had grown taller, more confident, no longer the terrified child clinging to a balcony. Rincala appeared beside him. "The rival clans have backed off. They've accepted that you're under permanent Shadowpaw protection. You could leave the compound now if you wanted, resume your independent life." Jake had been waiting for this conversation. "And if I want to stay, then you stay. You've proven yourself valuable. Your work in our logistics operation has been excellent. More importantly, you've become part of our community. Tomas isn't the only one who'd miss you if you left." Jake thought about his old life, the lonely apartment, the dead-end job, the sense of just existing rather than living. Then he thought about now the community meals, the language lessons Carolyn gave him in Felinar, the way Tomas ran to him excited about everything, the genuine friendships he'd formed with clan members. "I think I'll stay," Jake said, "if that's okay." Rincala's smile was genuine. "It's more than okay. Welcome to Clan Shadowpaw, Jake Morrison. Officially this time." Tomas spotted Jake and ran over. "Jake, come play. I want to show you the new climbing structure." As Jake let the enthusiastic 7-year-old drag him toward the playground, he reflected on the strange journey that had brought him here. He'd saved a cat kid on a balcony, became the target of Felinar clan politics, and somehow in the process found the family and purpose he hadn't even known he was missing. Not bad for a terrible day that turned into the best decision he'd ever made, even if that decision had been made in about 3 seconds while a kid screamed for help. Sometimes the best things in life came from not overthinking, just acting because someone needed help. And sometimes the family you found was the one you never expected, in a language you were still learning, surrounded by people who valued you not for what you were born as, but for who you chose to be when it mattered. Jake was okay with that. More than okay, actually. He was home.